Good evening, class. So today we're going to be learning about trade routes connecting Africa. So there have been a lot of events in Africa that have led to these trade routes opening up. So that's basically what we're going to be talking about today. Alright, so for this lesson, we'll be talking about a number of things, but for this one, in the beginning, we're going to be talking about a man by the name of Ibn Yassin. Abdallah Ibn Yassin was his actual full name, and he actually was a theologian, and he also was the founder of the Almoravids. And so basically, he was a religious leader who grew up in Morocco in Africa, and he was very religious and he had religious practices. He was Muslim, and what he wanted to do was start a movement for his Muslim beliefs. So he started what was called the Almoravids, and this basically was the start of a whole lot of events to come. He, like I said, he aspired to be a religious leader, and he just intended to do God's work as he saw it be necessary. And he was a Berber with a tribe called the Judala, which was, this was actually a part of the Sanhaja, which was a group living in the Sahara Desert. So he would go into the Sahara Desert and recruit people to become Almoravids, and people followed his movement, and he became a leader in this way. All right, so the Sahara Desert, it was involved in many trade routes, and one of these trade routes was the city of Sijil Massa. Sijil Massa was actually a trading center on the edge of the Sahara Desert, and Ibn Yassin actually invaded Sijil Massa with the Almoravids, and he told the people there to submit, otherwise they would face repercussions. And obviously they did not, they didn't like that, so they opposed him, and then in retaliation he attacked them. So he invaded Sijil Massa, and he basically felt like this was necessary for his movement. This was one of his motives, and so for a lot of his travels, he had to travel the Sahara Desert. Obviously, that's where he recruited a lot of people. But before we go any further, I'd just like to show you a short video about the Sahara Desert, just to give you all a visual of what it's like and how dangerous it is, and pretty much what people are going into when they travel the Sahara Desert.
The Sahara Desert, the largest subtropical desert in the world. Where is the Sahara Desert? The Sahara Desert is located in northern Africa. How big is the Sahara Desert? The Sahara Desert is approximately 3.3 million square miles, or 25% of the entire continent of Africa. To put this in perspective, this is almost the size of the United States of America, which is approximately 3.7 million square miles. What countries in Africa have the Sahara Desert? 12 countries have the Sahara Desert. They are Algeria, Chad, Egypt, Eritrea, Libya, Mali, Mauritania, Morocco, Niger, Sudan, Tunisia, and Western Sahara. What is the Sahara Desert like? 70% is made up of regs. What are regs? Regs are plains of large red, white, or black gravel and sand. 20% are ergs. What are ergs? Ergs are also known as sand seed, dunes of sand that are typically associated with any desert. The final 10% is made up of 4 unique features. The first one is hamadas, or elevated plateaus of rock and stone. Wadis are temporary water resources fed by rain and typically found in hamadas or mountains, home to most of the Sahara Desert's trees and bushes. Shots are large depressions that fill with water during the winter rain months and then fill with deposited salt throughout the spring and summer months. Finally, the oasis is a small, typically isolated area of vegetation that surrounds a natural water source. What animals are found in the Sahara Desert? Some common animals are the camel, the deathstalker scorpion, the ostrich, horned viper snake, addax, dung beetle, and monitor lizard. What are some plants found in the Sahara Desert? The down palm tree, the date palm tree, the acacia, the fig tree, the olive tree, the African peyote cactus, and the welwitschia are common examples. These are just a few facts about the Sahara Desert. Feel free to research more and find out more interesting facts about the Sahara.
Alright, so that was basically just to give you a visual of what the Sahara Desert looks like, how big it is, how far people have to travel when they go there. So it definitely wasn't an easy feat for people who had to travel this. But Ibn Yassin was definitely willing to make the travel in order to, you know, make his motives a reality. So as we continue, go ahead to the next slide. This is where the Trans-Saharan trade route takes place. So as we mentioned, I mean, as you saw in the video, the Sahara Desert is definitely one of the largest deserts in the world. It actually is the largest desert in the world. And it's about, I believe the video might have said 3.3 miles. This one says, the information that I have says 3.5 million miles, but it's roughly around 3 million miles long. So it covers a lot of space. And so because of the rigorous travels that people had to endure, one thing that they realized that they could utilize was the camel. And as they mentioned in the video, like that's one of the things you can find in the Sahara Desert, and that's what Ibn Yassin and the Almoravids used to travel during these trade routes. So this is how they got around when they were going around trading. They weren't walking on foot. And okay, we can move on to the next slide. All right, so now we're gonna talk about Sahel, which is on the southern end of the Sahara, with many valuable resources, and it's also housed merchant cities that continued one of the most valuable trading resources, which was also gold. I'm sorry, and this was one of the reasons why Ibn Yassin wanted to go here as well. It was one of the largest cities, actually one of the largest cities in Sahel is called Agdahast, and I believe, no, that's not the next slide, that's here. Yes, so Agdahast is one of the biggest cities. It's one of the biggest areas in Sahel, and it is basically home to a lot of valuable resources. Gold is one of the main resources, and so this makes it a great spot for trading. And a lot of people have interest in going here, and the objective of the Almoravids was to seize the city in order to dominate the gold trade. This was one of Ibn Yassin's motives. It was to dominate the the trading system. So as we move on to the next slide, Ghana is going to play a huge role in Ibn Yassin's legacy for a number of reasons, but Ghana in general is relevant because of the fact that Ghana at the time before Ibn Yassin's involvement dominated the gold trade because of where it was located. It controlled the gold trade in all of the Sahara. It was and the reason being, it was located between the Niger River system and the Senegal River system, which were additional trade routes. And this is what gave it access to both of them simultaneously. And for this reason, Ibn Yassin was motivated to go over there and seize it so that he can control the slave trade, him and also the Almoravids. So during the 10th century, Ghana's army captured Agdahust from the Sanhaja. Yassin actually attempted to seize it back from them in 1055 because of the fact that Ghana's army had captured it. And he retaliated by going to seize it back. And in the process, they declared that they were pretty much successful in this. When they invaded, they pretty much claimed everything that they conquered as their own. And as a result of this, Ghana fell in 1076 due to losing Agdahust and also losing control of the gold trade slaves. So ultimately, Ibn Yassin succeeded in his goal. And, okay. So this brings us to the city of Marrakesh. During the campaign in the Sahara that was run by the Almoravids and Yassin, he was actually assassinated during this campaign. And as a result of his death, obviously he was the leader of them, so they then needed a new leader. So a man by the name of Yusuf ibn Tashfin took over and took his spot. So during this, they marched the Almoravid army across the Atlas Mountains to seize control of the North African coast. And in 1070, Tashfin founded Marrakesh, which would be the Almoravids' new capital. And this became an even bigger and more successful, it became a bigger and more successful trade route than their previous one in Sijil Masa. So he basically went to bring even more success after Ibn Yassin's assassination. And it thrived because of its location, because it was located between the Sahara and the Mediterranean. So it was a similar situation to Ghana, where it was able to thrive because of where it was located between. It was located between multiple trade routes. So this was, obviously very good for them as well. And Marrakesh moved goods across Africa, Europe, and Asia. So it was a massive trade route. People were bringing goods in and out, and it was basically very good for them. Okay, so that pretty much concludes our section of trade routes. And for homework, I just want you guys to just name one more trade route that I didn't mention during this lesson, and pretty much just give me a brief summary about it and how the trade route came to be. Just like these ones, just give a brief story of the trade route's origin and how it started out. All right, that's pretty much it for today. All right, thank you for your time. Have a good day, everyone.